Everyone. Thank you very much for those who are tuning in live. This is the South Florida Tech Podcast, a weekly show where we bring you the awesome, innovative people building our South Florida tech community. Each week, we're introducing you to one of the Sunshine State's top tech leaders, learn more about who they are, what they do, and have some fun conversation along the way. Our podcast is, of course, presented by the Palm Beach Tech Association, a nonprofit dedicated to building South Florida into a tech hub. And I'm your host, Joe Russo, the president and CEO. For that, I want to also give a shout out to our sponsor for our podcast series, Emerge Americas. Each year, global enterprises, disruptive technology, and elite startups are highlighted at Emerge's premier tech event connecting the Americas. It's held every year in Miami Beach. Obviously, this year it's been a little bit delayed, but to date, they've had over 40 countries and over 250 speakers from around the world. They're transforming our tech industry through their work, not only through their event, but being involved in our community on a day-to-day basis. So thank you so much to the team over there, Melissa, Ashley, Felice, and everyone else. With that, I am really excited to introduce one of our longest term board members, actually, for Palm Beach Tech, and the CEO of Dedicated IT, Mr. Adam Steinhoff. He's a born and raised South Florida native. He's a husband, father, entrepreneur, runner, hiker. And if you thought that you were a really dedicated person, if you follow him on Instagram and see him running miles and miles and miles, he is something else. With that, he's as CEO, he leads a very diverse and large team out of their Lake Park headquarters, supporting and consulting companies with 10 to 500 employees. It's one of the fastest growing, most capable, and full service technology companies in Florida. And Adam himself has held pretty much every certification you can imagine, from engineer to trainer level certifications over the years. And with that, while some of those certifications have expired, that knowledge still exists in that wonderful brain of his. In addition, he's very involved in his church, Community of Hope, and is, of course, a board member of Palm Beach Tech. I spent a little bit of time on that because Adam is such an awesome individual. So
oh gosh,
very much.
Quit it. No.
Okay,
Oh wait, no, keep going.
Okay. Yeah, but you are a really neat guy. Just that intersection of, going out, running every single day. It almost seems like, I know that's not the case, but that's what it seems like from following on social media. And then coming back and doing some, next level technology work for your clients is pretty something. But with that, tell us about Adam. Tell us about what you do.
Man, I think you did a pretty good job on your own there. But yeah, my passion ultimately is to put on some trail shoes and go climb mountains and run hard trails and push distances to 30, 50, 60 miles at a time. That's what allows me to kind of enjoy myself and take the stress level down, and then get back to doing work like you had mentioned. My day-to-day job as the CEO of Dedicated IT is to really protect the culture and the mission of our organization, as well as wearing the other hats that a standard CEO would, such as driving shareholder value and making sure that the company continues to grow and is stable forever. So you also mentioned the fact that I was a technologist, or is somewhat still a technologist. I do run a small team in the company that I've called DevGrew, actually, which is where innovation kind of sprouts and gets delivered on an organization. So that's fun for me too.
So you've been essentially working your way up from a tech now to the business side for a number of years. What has that transition been like, from going from the guy who's working on the computers to the guy who's talking to people talking about working on the computers?
Yeah, I mean, it's been an interesting transition. I think, over the years, as I moved, like you said, through that progression, I think what I really found out that I like to do is to cause change and to be innovative and to solve problems and to create things. And initially I did it on a computer by computer basis, and then a network by network basis. And then, as a company that does hosting for many companies, you start doing it at a much bigger level. But then you start to progress kind of up the org chart into the business side of the house. And you realize that the core of me, or I realize the core of me, in that I like to solve problems, I like to connect people, I like to create, I like to innovate, I like to push limits. I just do it in a different way now. And that transition took me a while. And I would say, still in it today. If you're not pushing the boundaries and growing every single day, I think you're falling backwards.
And I know part of your success is also very much built by the team that you have around you, a mix of your business and your technology guys. How has building that team led to you growing, and again the company growing along with that team?
Yeah, I mean, I am far from successful on my own. I would actually say that I was unsuccessful on my own, and that I truly do my best work when surrounded by a team. While I am a control freak and sometimes a micromanager perfectionist, I still realize that there are things that I just can't do as well as other people. And I look forward to getting the people on my team who can do those things and just letting them run with the things that they do best. So this company is successful because of the people that I have been blessed to be surrounded with.
And something has got to be said for that on the culture that you guys have brought together over the past number of years. I know, at least from the folks that I've met on your team, that there is a fun camaraderie. I know you guys have some fun stuff that you've been putting in place too over COVID, just to try and keep people connected. But how has culture really played into all of this and making a home for people at a company?
I mean, I think that has been our secret sauce for many years, and in all reality, it's a struggle now for a couple reasons. One, the COVID thing makes it definitely hard to instill culture on new people who are joining our company, and to keep that camaraderie, like you said, together. The lunches that we used to have, the Nerf gun fights, the whatever it was, those things happened organically throughout the day. And COVID is causing, a stress on that, and it's causing challenges. The other thing is just, growing a company the size that we are and the speed at which we are growing is definitely stressing the culture as well. Because, we're not a small family business anymore where I know every single person. I know their wives or their husbands. I know the kids. I know what's going on in their personal life, and that connection that we have always had over the years is being stressed as we've gone from 5 to 10 to 20 to 30 to 40. Now I think 60 employees in the last couple weeks. So that changes the way that culture gets spread throughout the organization now, because I'm not the only person who can do that. So I need to instill the values of our organization and the mission into the leadership to then pass down on my behalf.
Yeah, and with that, you mentioned the Nerf gun fights, but on a lighter note, what do you think is the dorkiest or nerdiest thing that you've done in the office to try and have some fun?
And I wish you would have prepped me with that question before I got here, and I might have given it some thought. I mean, gosh, my team constantly says that I have 20 ideas every week, and 19 of them are crap. So I don't know what dorky thing is the top, but I'm sure that there was hundreds of them at some point. So I think that touches on our company. One of the core values. Well, it's not the core value, but it's a core of our company, is that we expect to try new things and be innovative and to mess up occasionally. And I give people full reign to mess up. Don't like them to do the same thing twice, but trying new things means being a little vulnerable and being willing to, sometimes you hit it out of the park and then the other 19 is they just flop. So I think you have to be okay with that.
Yeah, and I think your company is about 60 employees now. Am I correct on that one?
Yeah, yeah, we've added about 20 people since the first of the year, 25 people since the first of the year.
Wow. During COVID too.
Yeah, yeah, that was a surprise to us, not only having COVID happen, but then the speed at which we continued to grow through it was an interesting phenomenon that I think took all the leadership by surprise, honestly.
So I would call you an entrepreneur through and through, but you've been at this for a number of years now, and now you have over 60 employees. I would have to imagine at some point, you stopped and you said, all right, well, this is great. We got here. We didn't expect to get here, but then what's that next step and that next step and that next step? Did you ever imagine being where you are today, where you're,
Yeah,
leading a company of 60 people, being
you know,
successful, having all of that?
yeah. When I first started my first company, I think I was 17 or 18. And, of course I did it because I wanted to do something awesome and I wanted to build a huge company and I wanted to be a millionaire and I wanted to, all of those things you dream about. But in practicality, um, seeing it in front of your face is different than dreaming about it. And I constantly am kind of sitting here almost as a spectator sometimes as much as a leader and going, holy crap, like, look what we're doing. This is amazing. Like, so no, I never expected this, but at the same time, I expected this. It's weird. It's like a really weird feeling.
Yeah, I hear you. And you've done so as well. And you've mentioned it before. You didn't have a traditional college education. It was very much so like learning on your own terms with what you needed to learn. I mean, do you think that's kind of helped you in some cases, limited you in some cases, or is it just like the whole mix just came together in the right way?
Yeah, I mean, I can't say it's the right path for everybody, but it was definitely the right path for me. I was not good at standard, go to this class, do the homework, regimented process stuff. It just isn't, my brain doesn't work well like that. I like change. I like pushing the limits. I like trying new things. And it just, school just didn't do well for me. And luckily I found the right mentors. I found the right teachers. I found the right people, my parents, all of those people that encouraged me to kind of go my own way and supported me while doing it. And it has allowed me to be where I am without student loans. it's it's allowed me to learn the real world of business versus the theological side of it. But I think there is a piece of me that wishes I had an MBA, and understood the full economics of the business, um, and in a way that other people that are coming out of school do. But I go back to the fact that I have a team around me, and I have the CFO, and I have my business partner Aaron and my business partner Chris that I can lean on for things that I don't know or that I'm not strong in.
And with that, you've done, I think, a pretty darn decent job, from all accounts. And I know that college is becoming more and more kind of a not a requirement in the technology industry, right? Where a lot of companies have nixed those requirements just because skills are skills. But regardless, I what I've always admired in your in watching you and learning from you is the fact that you learn what you need to know when you need to know it. And that's I think a really important quality, regardless if if you're working on a project and you need to learn something, you go out and learn it. And not a lot of people I feel like do that. Maybe it's that entrepreneurial drive in you, but it is something to be admired. And
Well,
anyway, I'm
thank
gonna
you.
stop. I'm gonna stop over complimenting you.
Yeah, this
But
is nice. Can we do this every day?
yeah, sure. We'll just put it on the schedule recurring. I'll work up a calendar of compliments for you. Uh,
I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean,
so
I think I'm a big fan of ROI, and going out and learning a bunch of stuff that you don't need to know in hopes that one day you'll use it, I think is backwards. I think going and learning on demand in real time or as close to it as possible is a significant return on investment, honestly, in time. Other than that, it's static and it's waste.
yeah. So with that, the other side of Adam, the family side, the outdoorsy side. One of the things I've noted is that you are perhaps one of the most avid runners and outdoorsmen I know. Outdoorsmen, not in the sense of you're going out camping, but you're going hiking and you're going cross state, adventure manning or whatever you want to call it. Uh, how does that fit into your life? Why do you choose to do that, and how does that kind of reflect on your ability to be a good leader going back into the office?
So John Muir said that he'd rather be in the mountains thinking about God than in church thinking about the mountains. I can relate to that. Not that I don't, I mean, I still go to church, but I think there's something spiritual. I think there's a connection to nature that I get and a connection to God, frankly, that I get when I'm out and just experiencing his creation. It gives me peace, gives me time to be alone and think about whatever it is that I need to think about at the time. But then there's also a very challenging component to it as well. Like I really like to push the limits. I like to see what my body can do. I like to see what my mind can do. And there is nothing like a 30-mile race with 22,000 feet of elevation change to really bring you down to the point where you're on the ground in a fetal position, crying and wondering why the hell you signed up for this thing or started this trail. And you think that there's no possible way that you can continue on, yet you stand up eventually and you cross the finish line. And then you get to the finish line and you're like, I did that. And I didn't think I had any more in the tank. And yet I still think I could do 10 miles. And that resiliency is really, really helpful at times where all hell is breaking loose around you, or your patience has been tested, or you just think that things can't get any worse. You can always hearken back to being in the fetal position on the ground, on the side of a mountain, alone, without a cell phone signal, and finding a way to stand up and get it done.
That's something. I mean, I'll be honest. I went on a 2-mile hike this weekend, and I had about an hour workout this morning, and that hour workout pretty much did me in. I'll be honest, but you're going on like an all day hike, and that's something I think to be said too. But that dedication is really something in there. Um, Going back though, first and foremost, I don't remember you like ever talking about kind of business with you and thinking about structuring your days without kind of knowing that you've prioritized your family very much so in life. And being an entrepreneur, that's not always the simplest thing to do when building a company. But can you speak a little bit on that of what it's like to be a dad and an entrepreneur at the same time?
Yeah. I would imagine if you asked my family, they probably would say that I don't necessarily prioritize them. There's a lot of things that are tugging at my time. But I would say that I do better than most, or at least I like to think that I do better than most. And it's about time management. It's about keeping your promises and something as simple as like my kids love to play Roblox. And I always thought it was silly, and they'd come up to me and they'd constantly talk about Roblox and hit points and all this stuff. And I realized I was glazing over when they were telling me about it, and I was just kind of waiting for them to finish talking and kind of uh-huhing them. Well, I decided, you know what, let me install Roblox on my computer and let me start playing with them. And the connection that I made with them was significant. And, I play maybe 15 minutes a day, 20 minutes a day. But if you ask my kids as they're going to bed at the end of the night what their favorite part of the day was, I wouldn't doubt that they would say that the 15 minutes, 20 minutes that we played Roblox together. Or I drag them out on a hike and I make them, cross a waterfall in knee-deep water because I want to show them that they can. It's about making sure that I have good date nights with my wife and that I'm staying connected with her and making sure that she's feeling fulfilled and loved. And it's the same thing, it's time management. My business requires things of me, my family requires things of me, my physical fitness requires things of me, my spirituality requires things of me, and it's just trying to lay it down on a calendar and make it all work. And sometimes I mess it up, sometimes I do really well, and it's just a constant improvement cycle.
Yeah, I hear you. We all need to heed that for sure. Other than that, I'm curious, are there any other hobbies that you have that maybe I might not even know about, like just some fun things you do every once in a while?
Oh, man, I love fine dining. I like to taste bourbons, I like to taste wines. um, I like connecting people. So any opportunity that I have to introduce people to other people is, I would say, fun for me. I love, I have a mission, my own personal mission of having concrete evidence of the positive impact I make in people's lives. So I love being able to use my God-given talents and the connections that I have personally, and just the things that I have in my arsenal to help others grow their business or grow their person or meet physical fitness goals. So those are fun for me. Um, I don't know. I think I'm a pretty simple guy. I work hard, I play hard in the mountains and make sure that my family is taken care of. And to me, the rest is just kind of extra.
Yeah. So, last question here before we start wrapping up. What is your call to action for our South Florida tech community?
That is a great question. Um, man, it's such a broad audience. So I think the leadership needs to they need to respect diversity and make sure that they are not hindering um, any protected class to build a company that has diversity, that has good a mission and core values, and a good, ultimately, stewards of what you've been provided, both people, talents, money, whatever it is, as a leader. As a technologist, I think that you need to really understand business process and figure out how you can help a business using technology, rather than have technology and try to go find a problem to solve. You need to start with the problem. And I would say, as new graduates, new people, as their first job, really understand that working hard is going to be really important and what's going to set you apart from the others, as well as the soft skills that you bring to the table. Understanding group dynamics and being humble, willing to work a few extra hours, doing things with a smile on your face, understanding customer service. Those are all really important pieces that um, I think make you a more rounded leader or technologist or student or whatever it is. And the rest of the technology stuff, that's just go play and innovate and try new things.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, in this time too, like anything that we can do to, find new things and, build more inclusive teams. But, I really think that, I'll say it this way. I know that I've learned a lot from you and as a leader. And I think that's, something really to be said about the quality of leadership and the quality of entrepreneurs when other people can start learning and growing from you and your example. That's really big. So I want to thank you for that, of course. And, with that, we're just going to really quick wrap up here. So, thank you again to Adam. And he and I have been working on Palm Beach Tech for, I think, over 3 years now. If you're interested in learning more, you can go to palmbeachtech.org. You can join as a member. Our corporate memberships start at $500. You can click get involved and get more engaged in the organization as well. And huge thanks to our producing sponsor for these, Media Ops, which is one of our members in Boca Raton. They're the premier global media platform for technical communities with brands such as DevOps.com, Security Boulevard, and Container Journal. So check out Media Ops, of course, check out Palm Beach Tech, and check out Dedicated IT just to see who they are and what they do. They have some really great, awesome people over there to do really great work in the IT sector. So thank you very much to Adam for joining us and for his entire team for being a part of Palm Beach Tech.
Thank you.
All right. Enjoy the rest of your day, man. See ya.